Hi, everyone. Great to see you in meetings the other day. Last week, everyone came to their meeting, so I was very impressed. As I mentioned, I just wanted to give you a reference, kind of go through uh, something that I did with each group individually, which is um, if you want to take a random sample of, say, you have a large number of documents, too many to code or to look at intently, and you want to be careful to get a representative sample of them. So, for example, if you search for articles about mass incarceration and you get back, a couple of thousand hits, and you're not going to necessarily want to do more than one or 200, but you don't want to just pick the first 100 that come up because they might be grouped together chronologically or in some other way. You want to take a random sample of them. I'm just going to show you in spreadsheets, in Google Spreadsheets, how to do it. It works the same way in Excel. So you can see here I have a spreadsheet. The important thing is that you at least have a column where you give each of your hits, each of the potential articles or documents, an ID number. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you can use it to find um, the article that you're going to code. So for example, suppose that I have possible articles 1 through 100, and I made up some other data. So you can imagine maybe you have some information on the source and the date. If you have a lot of these, you won't have to, and you shouldn't collect information on all of them. So again, if you have like 2,000 possible articles, you don't need to collect any information on them, but you just need to have a way to order them so that you know how to find them. And as I mentioned to most of you, one way to do that would be, as soon as you find out that there are 2,000 articles, you know that you have a maybe it'll show like 100 per page, so it'll be easy to count. If I'm looking for article number 59, I know it's going to be on the first page in the 59th one. If it was 159, I know it's going to be on the second page, the 59th one down, and they'll generally be numbered. So as long as you have a way of knowing where to find them, and the typical way is to just give them ID numbers. You could also create a column that's page of results, and within each page the number of results. So you could have like page 1, 1 through 100, page 2, 1 through 100, and so on. Okay, so the key thing that I wanted to remind you of, that I told you all in groups, is how do you randomly sort these, right? So rather than saying, oh, out of these first 100, I'm going to take 1 through 15, I want to take 15, but in some random order. It's the way to do it is to create a column, we'll just call it random, and use the function equals, or you write equals before the function, and it's RAND. It's capitals, but if you don't do it capital, it'll automatically do it for you. And then open and close parentheses with nothing in it. And you'll see that it creates a number between 0 and 1, essentially at random. If you drag that down, you'll get other ones, other random numbers, and it'll actually keep changing the random numbers as you go. Which is fine. You don't need any particular ones to stay put. You can also just copy and paste. So it's not gonna paste that particular number. It's gonna paste the instructions for creating random numbers. So I'm gonna copy the equals rand and put it everywhere else. And so now we have a column of random numbers. You can just use that as is, or for purposes of demonstration, I'm gonna lock them into exactly them so that they won't keep changing random numbers. I'm gonna copy, so I can do edit copy, or I can Command C or Control C. And then I'm gonna go to edit paste special, paste values only. So instead of, it's gonna take away the instructions to create random numbers and just lock in those random numbers that have already been chosen. Again, you don't have to do that part if you don't want, but it's a way of seeing what's actually going on. So I'm going to select at least if you only have 2 columns, the random numbers and the article ID number, then that's all you need to select. But I'm creating a situation, a sort of a simulation where we have also the source and the date. I go under data, and I don't want to take the sort range because that's assumes that you're sorting everything, and I don't want those titles, articles, source, date. I don't want those treated as just any other entries. So I'm going to hit sort range, and then I'm going to click on data has a header row, and that immediately gives you a choice of whether you want article or maybe you call it ID number, which is how it's ordered now. And what I want to sort it by is that variable I created, the random number column. So I click on that. It doesn't matter what order it's in, from smallest to largest number or vice versa. The important thing is that it's going to be used to sort all of the rows. So I hit sort, and then you can see, and normally if I didn't paste values, these would all be mixed up again and it wouldn't be clear why they're sorted the way they are. But you can see that the earliest one, Article 79, which is the first one, it was chosen first because that was the lowest random number. And notice I don't need the random numbers anymore. I sometimes keep them in case I want to sample another set and not have to resort, but we really don't need them. And so the key thing here is then you can use these. And so for example, maybe your team is breaking them up and having different people analyze each of them. And so for example, I might put in Savan and say he's going to code the first 10, and then maybe someone else like Anna is going to do the next ones. And then, if you're working together, obviously you can then use that spreadsheet, take a look at it and say, oh, okay, I need the 33rd, the 88th, the 90th, 67th, and so on. Let me just show you, one other thing to make it more concrete. So if I'm, and actually some of you asked, but this is a good one for everyone to know about, library at the UMass Library. Under databases, I mentioned there's a good news database for sources, and as I mentioned, I never remember the name of it, so I always find it by using the old, what used to be the best source, which was Nexus, LexisNexis, Nexus Uni. We don't use it anymore, but there's a notice and says, and then that actually gets you to a bunch of databases that may be of interest to you. And America's News is the one that I was recommending for a lot of newspapers and transcripts, media transcripts of news, TV news. And so using that, for example, suppose I was just searching for, and you can do all sorts of selection based on, actually I will choose like sources in North America. You can filter afterwards, but suppose I'm looking for anything with the term mass incarceration. I'm putting it in quotes. You can also do ands and ors. And I'm going to do it in the first paragraph. So only if that appears in the lead paragraph will it count. I'm also going to choose dates that are, let's just do all within 2019. You can do a range of dates as well. And search. Okay. It is searching. And then it brings back, in this case, 348 results. Okay. So in the spreadsheet, right, I would probably want articles 1 through whatever that was, 328 or something. So I'd want to scroll all the way down. So I'd be randomizing that many numbers. And there are some ways to do it a little bit faster, but this tends to work pretty fast. So I have numbers 1 through 328. I don't really want to collect information, all of those ones I'm not going to use. And so I'm just going to create some random numbers to sort those. Let me double check if I remembered it correctly that it was really 328 and there was 348. Okay, yeah, that was quick. My memory is getting bad. All right, so I'm going to continue down to 348. All right, so I have 348 articles 1 through 348, and I'm going to randomize them by equals rand. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste by selecting the first cell rather than dragging down all that way. Shift the last box and then paste Command V. All right, and then I'm going to select both of my columns, the article number that's going to allow me to find the article, and then the random number, which is going to allow me to sort. Go to data, sort range. Data has header row, sort by random, and then sort. And now I've got them. And again, I don't really need the random numbers anymore. They were just a means to an end. Keep them if you want as a memento. I didn't freeze them that time, so they kept changing anyway. And now this will give me a way to select. And what I would recommend, actually, you can go one at a time. So imagine that I'm just selecting these to choose, let's say 10. Suppose I wanted in this set just to choose the first 10. So articles 168, 135, so on. I might choose those, and let me create another tab and put them in here. Now I might go one by one to those different articles, but it may be easier for me at this point to go chronologically, not really chronologically, but through the in the order that these occur. I guess it's up to you whether that makes sense. Maybe if it's in time order, it's better not to go exactly in time order, because that might lead to certain preparation. So if I wanted to go to article 168, then I know I've got, here's articles 1 through 20. It's giving me 20 at a time. And this database, unfortunately, some of the other databases let you look at 100 at a time, which would be a bit better. Here it's doing 20 at a time. So if I'm going to article 168, I need to go not the first page, not the second page. Let's see, it's going to get me all the way to 7 pages will get me to 140. You can use your calculator. 8 pages will get me to 160. So it looks like I'm going to need the 9th page of results. Another way to do this is you can actually save all the results and use the save text file and just scroll through it. You can see that in a second. And so notice select articles 161 through 180, so I can check I made the right call. I went to the 9th page because I knew that was the one that would have the 168th article. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I can select it. I can check all of these different ones and then download just the ones I'm going to read. And what I was starting to say was, if you want to make it easier, if you're going to be bouncing around checking different things, once I take the individual ID numbers that I'm keeping, I have 168, 135, 52, and so on. I can sort those. Once I've selected them, I have the ones I want. Go to data. Now I don't need a header. I'm just short. And now I've got 18, 32, 52, 53. That'll be a little bit easier if I want to check these from the beginning to the end. So the very first one, let me get back to the beginning. So if the first one I needed was article 18, that's going to be within the first page of articles 1 through 20. Right, third from the bottom, I could check that box, right? And I need 32, okay. That's going to be on the second page, first 20. And I check, yep, articles 21 through 40, all right. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and so on, right? And then once I do it, I can download. And in fact, I'll just show you, notice if I want to, as I mentioned before, I could just, I could select all of them. It works a bit easier when on some of the databases like ProQuest, which allow you to do 100 at a time. This can get a bit tedious, but you can select all of them on each page. And so, for example, I'm going to pretend that there aren't 348 and just pretend there are 60 so that I can save time on this recording. So I'm checking off by using the check mark at the top, select articles. So I selected through 1 through 20, 21 through 40, 41 through 60, and now I'm going to hit download.